road.
I don't want to go back to the GTS.
Today, the biggest and baddest Onewheel is getting bigger and badder. We spent a lot of time working with the factory team, really getting their wish list and building out the board that they want to have to push the limits of trail riding. It's been awesome to work with them as we've made all the improvements on both the mechanical side and on the electrical side, and of course the firmware, to deliver the best ride experience we ever have.
There's definitely no going back after riding this board.
You can ride the GTS and Apex all day long, but you're still just not gonna get the output and like the feeling. The traction that this provides is so significant that it just changes your ride altogether.
Today, we're introducing the GT XL.
Unreal.
We took our flagship GTS Series Rally Edition and we upgraded it across the board. This is the first time that we've actually made a bigger Onewheel than the original, with a larger tire, a bigger stance, upgraded power electronics, and that really brings it closer to the vision of snowboarding on powder. At the heart of this thing is the tire. We've got a 6-inch hub and the 12-inch tire. A bigger tire gives you more sidewall, more stability, a bigger contact patch, and when you combine that with more power, it makes everything easier and more fun.
It's a huge difference in traction. You know, with the GTS, we could have just made it more powerful, but past a certain point, like traction really becomes the limiting factor. With this, we get a lot more traction.
So you're able to ride the same tire pressure, but it just feels like a lower tire pressure because it's displaced more in a larger tire. Being able to charge through really chunky stuff and know that you're gonna be on your board at the end of it because it's just so stable is amazing.
Bigger tire was sweet. I like to ride my tire at a higher pressure, so it made going over roots and bumps a lot easier, more approachable. I was less afraid. I think more than anything, this board has helped build a lot of confidence. It's showed me what I'm actually capable of doing.
Let's talk about batteries. So this has a 113 volt powertrain like the GTS series, but we're using the new P50B cell from Molicel. This is the state-of-the-art 21700 cell. It has the highest power, it has the most capacity. So that translates into more power, more torque, and more range. With the new cells, you're gonna get about 12% more range than a GTS series.
This is the biggest hill I have ever done or even attempted. And this board is literally pulling me. This is insane, actually. Power difference is incredibly noticeable. I struggled to get up hills on the GT, and then when I purchased the GTS Rally, I started to be able to climb. I felt like that was already a huge improvement, and I was able to keep up with my crew in New York. Now, with this GTS Rally XL, I can keep up with everybody going uphill, which is insane. Braking capability, unreal. Woo! Woo-hoo-hoo! Holy hell. Wow.
What are you most excited about?
Probably the brakes. We've been able to climb steep stuff for a while with the GTS, but the ability to turn around and go back down a steep hill and stop and like keep a slow speed down it is just gonna open up a whole lot of terrain.
Gassing uphill. It's so crazy. It's got so much torque. Way more power. Way more juice. Freaking way more style.
The GTS series provided a lot more torque at speed. This rounds that out with more torque at low and medium speeds and more torque at high speed. Taking the GTS series as a baseline, 50% more torque than that. So you're really extending the range of the board. It's giving you the ability to rock crawl, to climb up hills, to have absolute control when you're descending tech sections, while also having the high-speed performance of GTS series.
When you thought it couldn't get any better, and it did. Yo! No resistance up this hill, just power the whole time.
All right, so we know that the Rally XL has 50% more torque than the normal S series, and a lot of that is at low and medium speed. So we're gonna do a off-the-line acceleration test to see how noticeable that difference in torque is. You ready, Mercedes?
The XL is just so much faster off the line. It really holds you up. With the GTS, you just kind of have to hold back a little bit is what it feels like. The feeling of power on the XL is just absolutely incredible.
The board is stretched out, of course, to make room for the larger tire. It uses the recurve rail geometry, and we also lowered it a little bit to comp out some of the extra ride height of the additional tire, but we did it in a way that you actually have better approach and departure angles. So it's really the perfect balance of a little bit better ride height and a little bit better ground clearance with the more stability of the new tire. It's an excellent setup for riding any kind of trail.
What was the thing that took the longest in terms of like the deliberation to get to where we liked it?
I would say, aside from the firmware, the second longest thing would probably be the rider height. We adjusted that a few times to get it to feel basically like perfect for the board. So it definitely still feels different than our other boards. It takes a little bit of adjusting. We wanted you to like feel stable and to feel confident as soon as you stepped on, that it wasn't gonna, you weren't gonna hit some kind of rock and tip one side to the other.
So with the higher ride height, we had to readjust the recurve angles. The back's pretty similar because it was already at a mellow angle, but the front's brought up a little bit more just because you don't need the severe of angles when you're higher off the ground. You get that effect through the tilt of the board.
Since this is the pinnacle of our lineup, people might think this is only for racing, but anybody who's riding one wheel can benefit from more power, more torque, a bigger contact patch, and more stability. It's really a great board for anyone. Obviously, it's going to attract the high-end riders, but everyone benefits from the new technology in GTXL.
I think this is a performance board for sure. However, if you are a larger person, somebody that might feel like they need a little bit more support, this is also the board for you. This can give the average rider a lot more confidence to try and tackle new environments, new terrain, and it can also improve your performance as an elite rider, somebody that does push themselves to the limits. This will protect you and keep you safe while you're doing that.
Oh, this thing's spicy.
Going back to the GTS from this kind of feels like going back to the GT from the GTS. As a racer, personally, I'm not going to choose to do that just because I am hungry for the power and the speed and all of that. But as an everyday rider, there's definitely use cases for all of those.
Anybody that's serious for going off-road and hitting some intermediate/advanced trails, there's no going back from this board.
The GTS series line has always been about pushing the limits of what's possible with one wheel. And with this product, we push the limits across a lot of different dimensions. With a bigger tire, more power, more range, a wider stance, this thing is going to take people way far out onto new trails, explore the world in ways they've never been able to do before. One thing we're really excited about this is that we're able to bring it to market at just $3,500. That's the same price that yesterday the regular Rally Edition was. Now you're gonna get all these upgrades at the same price point, and we can't wait to see what people do with the new GT XL.